a little video giving you a tour of the neighborhood where we've been staying. Old Tbilisi, the old part of the city. Welcome back, everyone. Tbilisi, Georgia. Back here on the streets in Tbilisi, and today actually is going to be the last of our videos from here in Tbilisi. We are heading on to another city, and like we always do on this channel, I want to make a little video giving you a tour of the neighborhood where we've been staying. And we've actually been staying in the neighborhood that's like right next to Liberty Square. We featured in some of our other videos, but I want to give you a little tour, so come along. Thanks for clicking on the video. If you want to help out the channel and help it grow, I really would appreciate it. Click on the like button down there, the subscribe button, and the little bell next to it to be notified for when new videos drop. It really helps the channel grow because it's going to help the YouTube algorithm recognize this content and spread it to other YouTube viewers. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, I would appreciate that as well. You can leave a super thanks by clicking this thanks button here and give a small donation to the channel. I appreciate your support. So back to the video, enjoy. So we've been staying right next to Liberty Square. We've actually been staying on the street called Georgi Leonidze Street, which runs off of Liberty Square to the west. Liberty Square is a large rotary, like we've shown in a few of the videos. Our video about Georgian Independence Day, and also the very first video we made here, and like the video that we made about our very, very long trip from Mexico to Tbilisi. But here, this neighborhood is part of like Old Tbilisi, the old part of the city, and there's lots of good stuff about this neighborhood, honestly. It's very walkable. There are a lot of like markets, restaurants, like you see across here. Some really delicious bakery here on the corner, and it's very, very easy to get everything done in this neighborhood that you need to get done without needing like a car or anything like that, which is always what I'm looking for in the neighborhoods where I stay. Definitely looking for something like that. And most of the neighborhoods where we've stayed in different cities and different countries have been like that. They've been nice neighborhoods that are very walkable, with everything that you would need within a few blocks. And also, a bonus of this neighborhood is because it's in the old Tbilisi, it has a lot of very cool old architecture, like this really cool building across the street here. When you go down certain blocks in this neighborhood, just like walking back here off of the main like busier streets, it's nice and pretty quiet and peaceful. And like I said, there's some really, really cool architecture on streets back through here. So we can walk down this way, we're walking south now, and go around a few blocks. We'll end up actually right on Liberty Square, which would be sort of like the heart of this neighborhood. And it's a major, like it's a big rotary, a major like intersection for Tbilisi in the southern part of the city, where a lot of different major streets connect and head off in different directions within the city. Like the street that we're staying on, Georgi Leonidze Street, heads off to the west, like I said. But also Shota Rustaveli Avenue, which we've featured in several of the videos that we've made here from Tbilisi, heads off of Liberty Square, like to the north. And then there is a street, which I don't know the name right now, unfortunately, that heads off sort of towards the east and ends up down by the river, and down by like the Peace Bridge, which we went across in the first video that we made from here in Tbilisi. Now, being close to Liberty Square it's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing definitely because like I said, it's a major intersection with major streets that go off into different directions to different parts of the city. And there's also a metro station, like a large metro station, very busy metro station at Liberty Square. There's also a large mall, the Galleria, which has a full-size grocery store in it, so you can do your grocery shopping there. I will point out, there are some actually really good restaurants. Like, Georgian food, of course, is absolutely delicious, and I've found good restaurants in different places, not just all over Tbilisi, but like in places outside of Tbilisi too. Like when we took our road trip up to Stepansminda, and we stopped in Pasanori. It's a delicious restaurant we found there. It's really interesting because right next to the apartment where we're staying is a restaurant called Pasanori that is really, really good. Probably the best and my favorite of all the like Georgian restaurants that I've eaten at in my stay here in Tbilisi. Highly recommend, if you are here in Tbilisi, to visit Pasanori restaurant on Georgi Leonidze Street, because man, it was really, really good food there. But that aside from the neighborhood, there's just also a lot of other things very close by, and if there are things in other places that you want to see, which, you know, like we did in other videos here on our trip here in Tbilisi, you can get to them pretty easily because you're so close to the metro at Liberty Square. The apartment is literally like a 3-block walk from the apartment to the metro at Liberty Square, which is great because the metro in Tbilisi is really good. The trains run really often, every maybe like 4 minutes, and it's very fast to get places. The coverage of the 2 lines is pretty extensive, and because Tbilisi is a long, narrow city situated in a mountain valley along a river, like some other cities that we visited in Latin America, like Quito in Ecuador and like Medellin in Colombia. Because of that, they don't really need more than the 2 lines to cover the entire city. You can get to pretty much anywhere in the city by taking the metro, which is great. And it's cheap. It's very, very cheap also. Metro is like 1 lari per ride, and that ends up being like 30 cents. And not only is it 1 lari per ride, but if you like transfer to a second metro station within 90 minutes of your first metro ride, then you get it for free. So it's free transfers within 90 minutes, which means that like not only could you say take the metro from here and Liberty Square up to like Station Square where the train station is and transfer to the second line, the one that runs out to the west, you would be able to do a free transfer there. Not only can you do that, but say you're taking the metro only like 2 or 3 stops to some place and you're just doing something really quick, like getting off the metro, going to one store, and then coming back. If your metro ride takes like 15 minutes from the time when you card in at the station, and then you get off out the store and you come back, and if you can card back in within 90 minutes, then you card in for free. It doesn't charge you, which is really, really nice. It makes it so that like metro access is definitely like a good thing, a big thing for neighborhoods too. We're back here actually on Georgi Leonidze Street, heading towards Liberty Square. And as you can see along the street here, a lot of pedestrian foot traffic, a lot of like stores, like this little supermarket, street vendors selling vegetables and flowers and like bread and things like that, which is really nice. There's also a number of like hostels and guest houses along Georgi Leonidze Street, which is nice. So you'll be able to find lodging. And right up here on Liberty Square at the corner, there are some hotels. So if you're looking for something a little like more upscale than like a guest house or a hostel, there are hotels and things like that along Georgi Leonidze Street here. And here we are, coming up on Liberty Square. Like I said, we have featured Liberty Square in a number of videos that we've made, and this is how close it is. And we actually went around the block for a little while. So we took the long way around to get here to Liberty Square. If you were to come straight down Georgi Leonidze Street from the apartment, you'd be on Liberty Square in about 4 minutes. And I've definitely walked past here a bunch of times during my trip, during my stay here in Tbilisi, because it's just like, it's so central to the neighborhood. But like I said, there are negatives also about living or staying, this close to Liberty Square. One, the neighborhood is a little bit more expensive. You're probably going to be able to find a place to stay that's a little bit cheaper if you were to go into a different neighborhood. Also, Liberty Square is just very busy all the time. There's a lot of foot traffic in this neighborhood. There's also a lot of car traffic. So in the apartment, you do end up with like a lot of street noise and car traffic, stuff like that, pretty much all the time. In fact, the only day where there really wasn't like the continuous sound of car traffic in the apartment was on Georgian Independence Day, when the street was closed. And the street was closed to car traffic, and it was actually quite peaceful that day. But you can walk around to the other side of Liberty Square here. You can see, there it is right there, the St. George Monument here in Liberty Square. And like I mentioned, across Liberty Square, on the other side, big hotel, the Courtyard Marriott. So, like I said, if you're looking for a hotel, you can find one here on Liberty Square for sure. Now this way, if we keep heading this way, straight down this street, which we're actually not going to do. We're going to cut back across Liberty Square. But just to let you know, if we continue on this way, this street goes north for a little bit and then turns east and ends up by the river. This is the street I mentioned, ends up down by the river, by the Peace Bridge that we visited in our first video here. And here along Liberty Square as well, there's plenty of restaurants, shops, and cafes along here as well. As you can see, it's a very commercial area of the city, which is actually quite nice. It gives you a lot of choices if you decide that you do want to like go out and eat. You get a lot of different choices, not only of like different Georgian restaurants, right, but different types of restaurants too. Like there's a Turkish restaurant that we just passed back there. That's like a Turkish doner restaurant for like doner kebab, really delicious kebab restaurant. And Turkish food, of course, is like quite popular in Georgia because they're neighbors. Georgia is one of Turkey's neighbors. They share a border. All right, we are on the underground passage here. One feature of in Tbilisi, and not just Tbilisi, but actually in a lot of former Soviet republics, is wide avenues, big wide avenues with like traffic lights that are far apart. And because they're far apart, the traffic is very, very constant. So it's like difficult to cross the streets. But they planned for that, and in almost all of these cities, there are these underground passages, pedestrian passages like this, that go underneath the streets, so that you don't even need to try to cross. There doesn't have to be a signal that like stops traffic while pedestrians cross. No crosswalks or anything like that. You just go straight underground, and it also doubles as like a little mini shopping mall where they can be shops and vendors can sell stuff, and you can potentially buy stuff. Or you just do what we're doing and cut through and end up on the other side. And actually, if we go up here real quick, we'll pop up. We're going to go back down in the tunnel in just a second, but I wanted to pop up and show you. We're now here in this little plaza on the north side of Liberty Square. Beautiful plaza here. This is a spot where there's a lot of like bus tour, boat tour, tourist guides you can find here. But if we go back down, and we can go back across the street, and we'll end up on our side of Liberty Square by where the apartment was. And over here on the other side of Liberty Square, we're going to end up is going to be the Liberty Square Metro. And like I said, having the metro so close has been super convenient. I don't know, it's super cheap, and it'll get you anywhere in the city basically. And because it's so cheap, because it'll get you anywhere in the city, like I've only had to use Bolt, which is like Uber here. There is no Uber doesn't operate in Georgia, but they have Bolt, which is a very similar rideshare service. Here we are on the other side of Liberty Square, heading towards the Liberty Square Metro, which is just like a block up. But like I mentioned, Bolt, I've only had to use it like twice, honestly. Once to get out to the open air ethnography museum that we visited in a previous video. That's super cool, like big park where they had moved all of those like 18th and 19th century Georgian houses. Super cool video, by the way, link in the description. That's the only time we ever had to use Bolt. We used Bolt to get out there and to get back, because that spot is a little remote and it's not really close enough to a metro stop. It's one of the rare places in Tbilisi that's not close enough to a metro stop. Didn't even have to use Bolt when we were coming from the airport, which is way on the outskirts of Tbilisi, because there is a bus. There's a bus that runs from Tbilisi Airport straight to Liberty Square and dropped us off right there at Liberty Square. That was really nice, being able to take that. You can see in our video that we made about our very long trip from Puebla in Mexico to here in Tbilisi, Georgia, that being able to take that bus was super nice, especially after having been like awake for so many hours. Being able to just hop onto a bus and end up here like a block or two away from where we were staying was super nice. Anyway, we're right here out in front of the Galleria Mall and the Liberty Square Metro. Liberty Square Metro, very busy. All the time, very busy. One of the most, I would say, probably highly used metro stations in all of Tbilisi. And actually, what's really nice for us is there is a little back way, little sneaky back way to get back to our little neighborhood. And it's just a nice little pedestrian path that goes behind the mall and behind the metro station. We can go back this way. So overall, this neighborhood where we stayed in Tbilisi, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, there's like good things and bad things about it. I think that's true for pretty much any neighborhood. That's been true for all the neighborhoods where we've stayed. We've been to gosh, how many now? 17 or 18 different cities in like, I don't know, a bunch of different countries. And I don't think any of the neighborhoods where we've stayed have been like perfect. Some of them have been better than others, but this is a good one. And you definitely, if you find someplace like up here, this little plaza, you definitely find some like really nice views out in the distance. One of the great things about Tbilisi is if you can find yourself in a place where there's a break in the skyline, the city skyline, the buildings, you can find some beautiful views like out to the hills out in the distance, which is really nice. But like I said, I would say if you were coming here to Tbilisi, I would recommend staying in this neighborhood, definitely, but it's not like the only neighborhood where I would recommend staying. In fact, I would say if you're staying on any neighborhood that's on like the metro line, where you're close to a metro station, that it's probably going to be a pretty good neighborhood, and a neighborhood where you can like get to the places that you want to go quite easily because of the metro. There are some neighborhoods that some people have warned me about, like being dangerous, but I don't know. It's a little hard, to be perfectly honest, as someone from the United States, to take those warnings like super seriously, just because, I don't know. I'm sure there are neighborhoods in Tbilisi that are more dangerous than other neighborhoods, but like when you look at it compared to like cities in the United States, where statistically it's just so much more dangerous in cities in the United States than it is city like Tbilisi and other cities in Georgia. I mean, the statistics are crazy when you really look at them and compare them for pretty much any kind of crime, especially like violent crime. It's just so much higher in the United States. So it's kind of I don't know. I didn't end up visiting any of those neighborhoods that people warned me about, just because like didn't really have time. But I don't know. It seems as though it might be like the most dangerous neighborhood in like Tbilisi might end up being like a neighborhood that's like moderately dangerous in like a US city. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm not understanding it correctly, but that's kind of my take on it. Anyway, like I said, I think if you find a neighborhood that's on one of the metro lines, that's near one of the metro stops, you're going to do just fine here in Tbilisi. And so we are back now out on Georgi Leonidze Street, right there at the corner where we rejoined after going around the block. And as you can see, along the street here, like the traffic is, it's pretty, like relatively busy, kind of most of the time. So like I mentioned, one of the downsides would be that like there is some road noise, like some pretty significant road noise, kind of all the time at this part of, like on this part of Georgi Leonidze Street. But we're getting back close to the apartment here. We're actually passing right here this restaurant in front of us with the outdoor seating, with the awning. This is Pasanauri, the restaurant that I mentioned right there. Pasanauri. It's delicious. The food is excellent. The service is excellent. The prices are pretty reasonable, actually. And I would highly recommend it if you are coming here to Tbilisi. Even if you don't end up staying in this neighborhood, take a metro to the Liberty Square metro stop and go around the corner here and go to Pasanauri. It's really delicious. Anyway, right here, right across from the apartment, back where we started, and I think that's going to be it. I think that'll be it for this video. Like I said, there's more videos actually coming from here in Georgia, because we're actually going to be going and visiting a different city in Georgia. Normally I would keep you in suspense, but I'll let you know. We're going to visit Batumi. We're going to visit Batumi in Georgia, on the western part of Georgia, along the Black Sea coast. I'm going to be, I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot. I'm really excited about it, and I hope you guys are excited about that too. So next time we see you, we will be in Batumi, Georgia. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.